is up, team? Hey y'all, welcome to Big Boys Boxing. Excuse the tardiness today. I did an update on my computer and all my settings have gone, so there may be some technical issues throughout the show today, but it is what it is, you know? So shit like this happens sometimes. So first things first, let's get some sounds going here. There we go. So, pretty quiet weekend for the heavyweights, but we did have a couple of good fights. I watched Alanga Makabu versus Alexei Papin. That was prior to the Kovalev versus Anthony Yarde fight, and that was a good fight, man. It was a war. I thought the judges' scorecards were a little closer than what they should have been, in my opinion. However, the right man won on the night. Alanga Makabu comes away with a win, so congratulations to him. I won some money on that fight, so I was happy with the result. Also, we had that Yarde versus Kovalev fight, of course, and it was a pretty good fight as well. So let me do a quick sound check here. We had that. Yep, it's all good. We got Tommy Temper in the house. Wilder Equalizer. Welcome, fellas. Hope you all are doing good. We also had Filip Hrgovic. Had a bit of a run out over the weekend against a guy called Heredia from Mexico. Don't know much about the dude. I thought it'd just be a pretty straightforward run out, and it turns out it really was. Third round stoppage for Filip Hrgovic, and he moves on. However, this Heredia's got pretty quick hands, and he was mixing it for the first, particularly the first round, somewhat the second round, but it didn't last too long against the hard-hitting Hrgovic, who seemed to be in a bit of a head-hunting mood. And yeah, he moves forward. But the Sergey Kovalev versus Anthony Yarde fight was pretty damn entertaining in itself. Ended with the result that many expected. Sergey Kovalev stopping Yarde in the 11th round with a kind of jab, check left hook sort of punch. I didn't think it was really a knockout punch, but throughout the fight, Kovalev's jab had really taken its toll on Anthony Yarde. There was a patch in the fight, round 7 and 8, where Yarde decided he'd go to the body, and Kovalev didn't like it, and the jab disappeared for those 2 rounds. The effective jab that was happening all night disappeared, but then Anthony Yarde decided not to go to the body as much anymore. For the life of me, I cannot understand why, but it is what it is. Sergey Kovalev comes away with the win. Congratulations to him. Anthony Yarde comes away with an experience, and I think he can come back from pretty well, man. If he went to the body early and stuck with it, it could have absolutely gone the other way. And there was a patch at the end of round 7 where Kovalev was hurt and wobbled, but the bell saved his ass. So it was a competitive fight, and now we've got a very good idea of where Anthony Yarde is. So to the biggest heavyweight news of the last few days, Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz is finally confirmed to be happening in Saudi Arabia after all of the talk from Andy Ruiz about, I'm not going to Saudi Arabia, we're going to bring the fight to either Mexico or back to New York. I initially thought when he started this talk, yeah, he's pushing for some more money, and it seems he got his way to a degree. He was alleged to be getting around $8 million guaranteed for the fight, and that wasn't good enough. One of the things his excuses was it's unsafe to go to Saudi Arabia unless I get heaps more money. So more money makes it safer, right? Or does it just make it worth the risk? But anyways, it seems like they've upped his guaranteed purse to $10 million, and he's signed the fight, but not without the threat of legal action. So it seems how the story went, from my presumption, would be Andy Ruiz, no, I'm not going to Saudi Arabia unless you give me heaps more money. They offered him more money. He still says, no, I'm not going. So Eddie Hearn filed some proceedings to get a court case going with legal action, and Andy Ruiz turned around and said, okay, 10 million's enough. I'll sign the fight agreement now. So Eddie Hearn called his bluff. The fight's on. Hip, hip, hooray. I mean, like I've said in the past, personally, I don't really care where the fight is. It's a 20-foot squared circle no matter where you go, and it is what it is, you know. I can't see Andy Ruiz winning that fight by points anyway, so the judges ain't going to matter for Ruiz to me. He has to knock Joshua out, and he's perfectly capable of doing it, as we've seen. And my thoughts at this stage is I think Andy Ruiz is going to do the same sort of thing to Anthony Joshua. Eventually that speed, persistence and volume is going to catch up with him, and Andy Ruiz isn't the kind of guy who's going to sit back and try and fight from the outside or try and get in and out. He just wants to get in, get on top of you, throw shitloads of punches and knock you the fuck out. So I can't see how Anthony Joshua is going to deal with that speed and volume in close. The jab that he's got could possibly deter Andy Ruiz, but he's going to have to do it all night. And I just don't think Joshua can do it. And every time he throws a jab, Andy Ruiz is going to counter him as well. With that speed, could be a big problem. So we'll see what happens. But as it stands, we're going to see the fight in Saudi Arabia on the 7th of December. Some announcements for the undercard yet to be announced. Expect some news on Joseph Parker versus Derek Chisora in the next little while. They do have an October date reserved at the O2 for that fight if they don't want to put it on the undercard, but I'm guessing now that it's all confirmed, we're going to see Parker versus Chisora on the undercard, along with many others as well, so I'm looking forward to it. Alright, so I'm about to get some links sent out to the regulars, and we'll see if we can get some conversation going about the weekend's boxing and the news, and we'll take it from there. So initially, I'll drop a link in the chat. There you go. For anybody who might like to join, give me a sec here and I'll get some sent out through hangouts as well. Hopefully my settings are up to scratch so I can have guests speaking tonight. So give me a sec here. Bear with me. Hangouts. Where are we? Stream crew. Regulars. Have a link sent now for anybody who may like to join. And if anybody wants to get on and that link in the chat isn't working for you, you can always send me a message, a private message on Hangouts using the email that's in the description, which is kiwiboxjono@gmail.com. So that's that. We'll see if anybody wants to join. Just be aware, y'all, I'm on a bit of a time schedule today. I've got a few things to do, so can't be mucking around for too long. Actually, looks like this hangout might not be working. I'm not sure. It's not showing up in my hangouts, but it's open. Weird shit. Yeah, there was some other fights over the weekend as well. Was it David Benavides? I think had a scrap. And a couple of other fights, but they were against low-level opponents and no upsets there. So we'll see what happens. All right. Tommy Temper, how are you, brother?
Good. Can you hear me, Jonah?
I can hear you. Hopefully, we can. The people on the stream can hear you as well. Could somebody let us know in the chat if you can hear Tommy? Like I said, I've done an update, and a whole lot of my settings have gone all fucked up today. So that's convenient, huh? How did you enjoy the weekend's boxing, brother?
I caught one of the fights on the undercard. I couldn't tell you who it was, but it was a low-level fight. But I did catch the Yard Kovalev fight, and I really actually enjoyed that fight.
Yeah, it was pretty entertaining, wasn't
it? Yeah, it was very entertaining.
Yeah.
Kind of reminded me a little bit of when Nigel Benn fought Michael Watson. Nigel Benn basically gassed out in that fight, and he actually got stopped with a jab as well.
Yep. Did you think Yard was actually just too gassed to get up and kind of gave up?
I don't think he gave up. I think he was spent.
Yeah.
I don't think he had anything left.
Yeah. I'm of the firm opinion in Yard's case that he's carrying too much muscle. You know, the oxygen that much muscle requires to work for 12 rounds is a lot. So, you know, he'd never been past 7 prior to this fight.
Do you think he'd be better at 168?
It'd probably be better at 168 if he could lose that muscle and still be okay. But I don't know if he's ever been down that low. So I don't know. I think he's definitely competitive at 175, but you know, not sparring for a fight in a high level fight like this, and his game plan. Man, why didn't he go to the body early? Everybody knows Sergey Kovalev doesn't like body shots, and he showed it in those 7th and 8th round. You know, if he had gone to the body early, he might have been able to get him out of there. But I don't know, man.
Yeah, but you got to remember he's been fed tomato cans, so he probably overestimated his own ability.
Yeah, he was pretty confident, wasn't he? I mean,
he was very.
Yeah. Deontay Wilder put it quite accurately. I thought, you know, overconfident and inexperienced, pretty much lost him the fight.
Yeah, but he nearly got the job done, though.
He did.
Was very close.
The end of round 7 there, he had him staggering and looked like Kovalev was in La La Land. He was lucky that was the end of the round. But
and I don't know about you, John, but I noticed that Kovalov he's lost a step or two, I think.
Oh, of course.
In some of those exchanges, he looked. I'm thinking to myself, I remember even when he fought Pascal, he was so much sharper and more effective.
Yeah, if it was the Pascal the Kovalev that fought Pascal in there, I think Yard would have been out of there in 5, to be honest. But yeah, he's definitely lost a step. You know, when he fought Alida Alvarez and got stopped the first time, everyone thought it was all over for Kovalev. And then the performance he put in the second time round against Alvarez, that was a pretty good looking Kovalev. I think it was a much better looking Kovalev than what was in there against Yard. But like you say, I think he's lost a step, and the older he gets, the more he's going to lose. So
I would actually pick Yard if they have a rematch. I would actually pick Yard.
I probably would too, just based on what Yard would have learnt from that fight. That was a huge lesson, and next time around, Kovalev's going to be that much older as well. So, um, yeah, I'll be down with that as well, Tommy. Um, did you catch the fight before that? The Alanga Makabu versus Alexei Papin.
Was that
It was on the same card.
I don't sound like a dumb redneck here, but was that a white guy against a black guy?
Yeah, Makabu's the
Yeah. I did catch that fight. That one. Did that go to the points?
yeah,
Yeah. That was a pretty tasty fight as well, actually.
yeah. That was an awesome fight. I didn't even know it was on until I turned on the computer in the morning. I had to get up at like 4:30 in the morning here because it was on in Russia. But the things we do as boxing fans, it's all good. I turned it on and they were coming out, just doing their ring walks. Oh shit, this is a tasty fight. Go and check the odds. Go and put some money on it quickly. um, so yeah, I knew it was going to be a war, and I thought Papin's inexperience was going to cost him in that fight, and I think that's what turned out to be the case because he's been a kickboxer most of his career. So, but yeah, what a fight, man! That was an awesome fight to watch. A real good war. Um, I thought Makabu was in trouble a few times, and I was just getting ready to kiss my money goodbye, but um, turned out that the judges did give it to him. I thought the judges made it a hell of a lot closer than it actually was. I thought it was more like 8 rounds to 4, and there was a knockdown in the later rounds too. So two of the judges scored at 115, 113 to Makabu, and I'm thinking to myself, how the hell can you score it like that when there's a knockdown? It's got to be 115, 112. So I don't know, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Some dodgy shit going on in Russia. It seems like they tried their hardest to favour the home fighter, but to no avail. But yeah, not a bad weekend of boxing. I enjoyed it. I managed to catch that Philip Hergovic fight as well, but it was only 3 rounds. I didn't expect too much of it, and Hergovic come away with another straightforward win. The Mexican guy Heredia was a bit of a surprise for me. He has pretty good hand speed, but he just wasn't able to maintain it for more than 2 rounds. So that's what it is. But big weekend.
So yeah, you reckon a few extra million has alleviated Andy Ruiz's security concerns?
Yeah, well, initially when he first started saying no, I'm not going to Saudi Arabia, I thought it was just a ploy to try and push for a bit more money, and it seems that it's turned out to be the case. I don't know if you heard my quick evaluation before about what I thought happened. He asked for more money, and I think Eddie Hearns decided, well, I'll flick him a couple of extra million guaranteed, and that might avoid the court case. And it seems like maybe they said no, that's not good enough. So Eddie went to the lawyers, got the legal proceedings started, and as soon as Andy Ruiz got notified of the legal proceedings, they turned around and said, "Okay, you called our bluff. We'll take the fight now."
Yeah, just a bit of posturing, isn't it?
Yeah, but you can't blame the guy either at the same time.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah,
It's yeah, he's looking out for his family like the rest of us.
yeah, that's right. He's just trying to put a bigger chicken on the table. So, all in all, we're gonna get to see the fight, and I'm happy about that. Are you okay with it being in Saudi Arabia yourself?
Yeah, I'm good with that. I mean, if the fight was in the UK, I would have gone to it, definitely. But I'm kind of hoping that AJ wins and he has a homecoming fight because realistically, can't really cheer for Fury anymore because he's just a clown without a circus. But yeah, I do want AJ to win the fight, and I want him to actually fight in the UK after that.
Yep, fair enough.
So, yeah.
Okay, I'm just looking up the card now to see if anything else is confirmed for the card yet, and no, there's nothing else just yet. So it is what it is. We're waiting, and like I said earlier, I expect some news. I think that Parker versus Chisora fight's going to end up on that card. Now that it's all signed, sealed, and confirmed.
When's that fight taking place?
7th of sorry, which one?
The Chisora Parker.
Well, they had a date in October at the O2 as the headliner, kind of put aside for it. But now that they've got this fight with Ruiz and Joshua confirmed in Saudi Arabia, it's likely they're going to get put on that card as like this chief support or something like that. So,
oh, that's two fights I potentially missed out on going to now. Then,
well, maybe yeah, we'll have to wait and see as well. You know, I know both Chisora and Parker are going to want to be pretty well paid for that fight, and that's going to take another chunk out of the events.
Yep.
A lot of money, so maybe it might be better business for them to run a standalone event at the O2. Maybe. I mean, there's plenty of other fighters in the Matchroom stable that could fill that card. So, or both of those cards really. So, not a big deal either way it goes. Personally, I'd like to see them have a standalone event in October, and that way both guys have the opportunity to fight again before the end of the year. I know Parker himself wants to fight 2 more times this year, so we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that one. But
what sanctioning body would that fight be under?
That's a good point. It could be one of many. I'll have a look at the rankings and see what the dealio is there. See which would be most likely. Rankings. I'll just get that up on the screen for the people to see.
WBA.
There we go. Rankings. I think it'll probably depend most on, has Derek Chisora got a ranking anywhere? There he does. Number 10 of the WBC.
Ooh.
And Parker's like 7 or something. Where is he?
In the WBC?
WBC. Joseph Parker's 6 and Derek Chisora's 10th. Who else have we got? David Price's, jeez, he's got a ranking with the WBA at the moment, number 9. Be the highest he's been for a while. WBA.
Top 10.
Yeah, WBA doesn't have Chisora or Parker in it, so not likely to be in that one. Oh, sorry, I was looking at the WBC again. Where are we? WBA. No Chisora, no Parker. WBA. IBF. Joseph Parker is number 14. And no Derek Chisora. WBO. None of either.
I would doubt that. WBO, that's kind of like Frank's and Bob Arum's belt,
yeah.
basically.
Yeah, even though Parker used to be the champion, he's not in there whatsoever. So, yeah, both guys are in the WBC. I don't know how much Eddie wants to work with the WBC, but it is what it is. We'll see what happens. Get that off the screen. But yeah, we'll see. There's plenty of not only heavyweights, but plenty of fighters in the Matchroom stable to fill both of those cards. So we'll see what happens. And, yeah.
Do you know what's happening with Dillian White?
He's keeping very, very quiet, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, isn't he?
So, we'll see what happens with his WBC case. I don't expect we'll hear much from him until that's finished. So, yeah, we'll just have to wait and see, man. Because he's not mandatory for that. And it seems who was it came out the other day and said they wouldn't put him in the ring.
WBO?
It was the WBO. Yeah, so if he gets his mandatory and interim status back, he can't be ranked because they call the interim title an actual heavyweight title. So, but if he doesn't get it back, I wonder what the deal is, because the WBC are doing their case. The WBA don't seem to want to have anything to do with Dillian White while there's this alleged failed test hanging over his head. So I guess we've got to wait and see if this B sample is going to come out at all. It seems the WBC aren't interested in any hearing that Dillian White had that let him fight. Not interested in the results of that. They're interested in the B sample and the B sample only. So I don't know, man. There's a lot going on behind closed doors at the moment, and we're not going to find out until there's a result. So
well, let's hope it doesn't take 2 years the way Tyson Fury's did.
Yeah, I reckon. Well, I don't think it's got much to do with UCAD anymore, besides the WBC obtaining that B samples results, and that's the only, because UCAD it's still under appeal, isn't it, from White? So it could take up to 2 years. It's madness.
Yeah, it is.
It's, looking ahead, we've got a decent weekend of boxing coming up. We have that clash between Vasyl Lomachenko and Luke Campbell. And also on that card, we've got the Alexander Povetkin and Hughie Fury fight on there. So, yeah, looking forward to that. I'm not sure what else is on, but I haven't looked too deep into it. I was too busy trying to sort out my tech issues this morning. Maybe I'll have a look at the card now and see if I can find it. See what else is on there. Huey Lewis Fury. He should have a nickname. I don't know why he hasn't got one. Huey the Runner Fury.
Negative Fury.
The athlete. The negative athlete. I've got to give him credit though. He's taken on some tough fights in his last few, besides Chris Norrod, of course. But he's fighting harder opposition than his brother. His cousin.
Oh God, yeah.
So yeah.
How many times has he lost? Has he lost once or twice?
Huey twice. Once to Parker, once to Pulev. That's it.
Parker. Oh yeah.
So far. There's a possibility he could lose this next one too. Definitely. But it's an interesting fight. I mean, we've spoken about it before. The clash of styles. It's either going to be a Povetkin stoppage or a Fury on points, probably. I mean, I could also see Povetkin winning on points, much like the fashion of Parker versus Fury. The judges like aggression, and if Fury's going to be that negative, then he could get penalised on the cards. So we'll see what happens though. But we've also got Charlie Edwards fighting on that card, and he's fighting Julio Cesar Martinez Aguilera. Jeez, what a mouthful. He's 14-1. So Charlie Edwards is 15-1. So it should be a pretty competitive fight as well. What else have we got here? Joshua Boatsi's fighting on the card, and he's fighting Ryan Ford, who is 16-4. As you know, Joshua Boatsi is unbeaten at present at 11-0. So I don't know how much of a test this Ryan Ford is going to be for him, but definitely worth a look as well. We've got Joe Cordina on the card. He is 9-0, and he's going to be fighting Gavin Gwynn, who is 11-0. So two unbeaten fighters going at it there, which will be some entertainment. And we're getting down the list a bit. Doesn't look like too many other decent fighters on the rest of the card. They're probably getting down to the non-televised ones down there, but we'll see what happens. So, but yeah, Vasyl Lomachenko versus Luke Campbell. I'm interested to see how much of a fight Luke Campbell can put up. He's putting out a bit of decent talk in the media at the moment. I remember one statement in particular he said was, if I can hit Lomachenko flush, I can knock him out. And I thought, yeah, that's how boxing works. But if you if you can't hit him, you can't knock him out. So I think hitting him flush is going to be the biggest problem for Luke Campbell. What do you reckon?
Big emphasis on the if.
Yeah, if is the big emphasis, alright. The operative word. So let's see what happens. But I'm looking forward to seeing Lomachenko out and about again. I hope Luke Campbell can give Lomachenko some decent work. I can't see him beating him, but if he does, man, there's going to be a lot of rumblings going on around boxing fans. He's got to be TBE if he can beat Vasyl Lomachenko. We'll see. But
do you think if Loma wins, say hypothetically Loma wins by a knockout, do you think he'll stay at 140?
I don't see Vasyl going any higher than 140. I mean, isn't the fight at 135 anyway?
I think it's 140. Could be wrong.
You might be right, mate. I'm not too much up with the play. Where are we? Vacant. World Boxing Council. Lightweight. That's 135, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that one is at 135. But I wouldn't mind seeing Loma fight at 140 against some of the guys that should be at 140, like a Mikey Garcia sort of fight. That's one fight I really want to see. I mean, I wouldn't even mind seeing him fight Manny Pacquiao at 140. I think that's a good fight as well. But the guys who are legit welterweights and scratching to get down to 140, I don't think he should be fighting those guys. I don't think he's got a big enough frame to fight legit welterweights. But I'm sure he could beat a shitload of, the guys who aren't elite level. But if he starts
fringe contenders.
Yeah, but if he starts stepping into the ring against legit welterweights like Errol Spence Jr. and Keith Thurman, I think he's going to get his ass handed to him. Yeah, I think that's pushing it a step too far. But Manny Pacquiao being a smaller welterweight and he had campaigned at much lower weights earlier in his career. I think the size comparison isn't too far different and could be competitive. But yeah, Mikey Garcia is one I want to see Lomachenko fight at 135 or 140. I don't care which one it is. But time will tell whether we get to see them or not. But yeah. Anything else you'd like to bring up, mate? I'm kind of on a tight time frame. I've got to get going very shortly. So
all good, mate.
Well, good. Thank you very much for dropping in, Tommy. Appreciate it, man. Are you getting close to the end of your strike? We're gonna see you streaming again in a little while.
I think I've probably got about 6 weeks left, 7 weeks left. But I'll be streaming on my second channel, Goose and Gander. I've been slacking, but I've obviously had some personal stuff to deal with. But I'll be back on the saddle after this weekend.
Cool as. For those of you who don't know, Tommy's second channel is called The Boxing Empire, is it?
No, I changed it to the Goose and Gander.
Okay, The Goose and Gander. Maybe you can drop a link in the chat after this is uploaded, so people might be able to find you a bit easier. For your channel. He's also got his original channel, Tommy Temper. So get over, check it out. It makes a whole lot of funny little videos. I thoroughly enjoy most of those, man. They're pretty fucking good.
Sweet, thanks, man.
All good. So yeah, appreciate everybody dropping in for a hello. Sorry about the shortness of the stream and the late start today, but shit happens sometimes and got to get past it. So that's us for today. This is Big Boys Boxing and Tommy Temper, and we are out. See you.